I was probably over a step ahead when preparing this, that to remove them, but I agree that council could still make the decision to have us go back and reserve them and change the year-end transfer.
That would be the probably proper process, right? Other than not doing it, since it was a approved reserve transfer last year. Should we address that? Is that, you're the expert here, Amanda? Is that?
Well, I was trying to handle it the same way that we handle like the reserve transfer from solid waste. So council budgeted for $47,500 to be transferred from the solid waste reserve to offset the solid waste revenues. But to break even in that department, we only needed to transfer $47,053. So I didn't transfer $47,500 because then we would have just brought it to you to come back and reserve that extra $447. And so that was the same concept, but if council, if that's the way you want me to approach it going forward, and for this year, we can revisit those things as well.
I guess we look to administration for direction on what, you know, in the audit, what would they look for? Would that be proper practice or approach to it, or I guess that's the bottom line.
If I may, Mayor Hunter, and I guess that if it was a directive to transfer 47,353, whether it's more than what we were supposed to, what we needed to make the balance or not, it's still a directive of council, and it should have been carried out, in my opinion. And I would say the same thing for these two other reserves, that was part of the budget, and it should be reflected in all of the numbers throughout the budget, so that it's consistent throughout, as it is a directive of council.
So just a different perspective on that would be that for our capital projects, if we're under budget, but you've said you can spend $500,000 on this capital project, but we've only spent $400,000, I would not transfer $500,000 in because we only spent $400,000. So that's just the way that I'm trying to handle it. So, but we can do either way. I think probably, the auditors would just, they would look at the budget and then the actual, and they would ask for an explanation, and my explanation would be reasonable. So they are okay with that.
Yeah, and I think, I can't speak for council, but I think that's fair. If our auditors are fine with that practice, I think we're aware, the point is made, I think, and we've talked about it, so I think everybody would be comfortable, just whatever our CFO and the auditors agree is a good practice, we would agree with that, since we aren't sitting at your desk. I could, but I couldn't do what you do. So can we leave it at that then? That Amanda and the auditors are fine with that practice? Anything else to anyone? I didn't see any hands going up in the meantime. And I will call for...
We ask questions outside of the fourth quarter report?
Well, this is where, well, there's other things on the agenda, and Ethan does, if you want something else asked, then this is the time during the CO report. That is the practice we've been following. So yeah, something outside the fourth quarter report.
Well, it's not in the fourth quarter report, it's outside the fourth quarter report. Yes, and that's acceptable.
Well, this is our practice, am I right, Ethan? That there's something
So I wonder,
you want to know, is when to ask.
I wonder where we are with an update on the old high school land's future. There were some issues I know that were delaying setting that future, and so I'm wondering if we're any closer to getting to that point.
Okay. Is that really make, would you like a motion to send that somewhere or bring it back in this meeting or?
It's one of those things that we've learned a bit more about some of the complications we had with that. We're just waiting to get some advice from legal on that, so.
And then nothing will come. What's your one? Is that? Councilmember White?
I'm just curious, when I was in here prepping for a meeting a while back, new window went in the door, and I saw new windows come in some other doors, or new doors and new windows. But I don't recall seeing it in the budget, so, in the capital budget. So I'm assuming you're using repair and maintenance to do that work? Through the chair. He's